Welcome to the First 40 Sports Show with the Goon Squad. It's Black Thor, it's Ice Water, and yours truly, Puma. Going to give you sports hot and heavy, starting with hot topics. Black has been on the story for about 2 or 3 weeks, and the more every week, something else comes out, and a lot of people are falling with this. The AD, I think at Kansas was canned or retired or whatever. Didn't vet this guy. Didn't vet this guy. Maybe it was just on a gentleman's agreement. I don't understand that. But you called it about a couple of weeks ago that there were things coming out in the story. And I don't think Les Miles will ever be in college football ever, let alone the NFL. Your thoughts on this, Black?
Well, I want to jump on what you said about the AD of Kansas. Vetting him or not, bro, that's his boy. They worked together years ago. And here's what happens with a lot of college and NFL too. They hire people you worked with them 20 years ago, you're not paying attention because there's no way if they went down, he claimed he did, but there's no way you went down to Louisiana and nobody said nothing, bro. No one said nothing. And one of the big things is the AD at LSU, they're looking at him now because he let that go on for a while. When they first did the investigation and came back and said not to have around women, you got to fire him then. You got enough right then to fire him. But they played around with it, and to his win-loss record started playing around. And I said, I just, we talked about it, on Black Man Talk. How could he be that stupid? Yes, that's just the question. I mean, realistically, man, how could, in the 20s, whatever the case may be, a grown man working on a college campus be that dumb and stupid? I mean, I think Les Miles did a great disservice to a lot of kids on that campus beyond this, because look at the talent he suppressed just because he was arrogant, just wanted to run the ball. Then you find out that he's doing this. And what's really sad about this, a lot of people knew, but said nothing. A lot of people knew, man. This wasn't like it was in a closet hidden. Nobody said nothing. And that's part of the problem with this in so many areas is that people know and they look the other way because everybody's trying to get theirs. The players trying to get the NFL, so they're not going to say anything. The staff, they're not trying to, lose their jobs to get them. So everybody turns a blind eye, and it goes on for years. But I can't imagine, man, that, there hasn't been a father of some of these daughters, man, that want to walk up to them and take them out. Literally. When a man tells you only hire a woman that looks a certain way,
Yeah.
I mean, on my staff, what is this, 1950? Realistically.
Madman.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just, and that's okay.
Wow. Ice, it seems like here's another example of colleges and universities really kind of just protecting the money flow in college sports and hiding these stories.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and I know that these come out, and I understand the point of making sure that we do the right thing. But man, there's a lot of dirty laundry in there, bro. A lot of dirty laundry. And the facts of it is, it's about winning. Unless you find it to a point where you saw the horrible investigation and what came out about the gymnastics, especially with the female gymnastics team and whatnot. Unless you have something that's so egregious, like even with the Les Miles thing, it's egregious, but it's so crazy. The average group, it's a lot of stuff going on, man. They just sweep it under the rug and they just keep it moving because you mentioned it's about the cash. The other part of it too, and it doesn't make it, you just not where you should excuse it. But the other part of it too is depending on what's going on, if these females are athletes or something like that too, that a lot of these programs that these athletes or these coaches are connected with are the money earners.
Yeah.
So therefore, that money comes from that program to pay for somebody else's scholarship. And then the question is, they probably come up with them is was it really all that bad for you? I'm just keeping that 100, man. I'm telling you, this thing has been going on a lot of times for a lot of places. And now when they get some real opportunities, some people are speaking up and things are coming out just about Les Miles. But if you think it's going to change like that overnight and we're going to start seeing more and more, we hope so. But we get into the truth, but I'm not so certain about that. I'm telling you, this type of scandal and these type of things run deep. There's a long history in college athletics and other places with things like this and then never go and report it, especially when you're able to drop somebody some cash from a booster just to make it go away. And then they have to sign those agreements. They can never talk about it ever again. There's a lot, man. This is only scratching the surface again as to what has been happening for years.
Yeah, and that's the scary thing. And then Les Miles was like the highest paid person in the state, a state employee, and messed that up. I'm like, wow, wow.
You know what's real interesting too is another side of this that I find to be interesting because when stuff like this happens, you wonder where's the NCAA, but at the same time, where's ESPN? Because ESPN could have known of this and afraid to. They're in such in bed with college sports that they're not, they pick and choose what they really want to cover. Because look who's really driving the wagon on this. USA Today. They're driving. It wasn't for them. This probably may not have came to the surface. So you can't tell me as close as ESPN is to college sports and up in LSU's, but most of the times Alabama, the SEC. You ain't heard about this? They knew. They knew. But a lot of times they just signed a big contract with, NHL. When they got all these contracts going, they're going to think of their contracts first. So when they act like they're doing us a favor by giving us news, they're really not. Because you start to think about a lot of good stories that broke in the last several years, ESPN has not been behind it. You got The Athletic behind it, you got Bleacher Report, you got all these other places that really have no ties to these college organizations, NFL sports. They come out and they get the dirt and they're dropping it. ESPN wants it out there where they act like, no, they're not on it because they're in bed with them for the most part. They don't sign these contracts to where they're afraid to do their job.
Yeah, here's another story I'm gonna throw in the hot topics with Duke canceling the whole season. And I had a hard time with this one because when this season started, or before the season started, Coach K was one of the first ones that said, let the kids play. We need to be out there playing college basketball. And once he found out his team wasn't any good, Ice, he was doing any and everything to kind of sabotage the season. I'm not sure if any of his players tested positive, but it just seemed like they knew they weren't going to win the ACC tournament. They knew they weren't going to get picked. So instead of getting eliminated, we're going to take ourselves out. And I think it was cowardly to do. I think it's, the players come there to play and want a chance to kind of make things happen. And I think he just took that from them, a coward's way out. And Duke just took the coward's way out. And I'm not saying this because I'm a North Carolina Tar Heel fan. I'm just saying what I see on the surface. Ice?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, there's really no way to kind of prove that, so he gets the benefit of the doubt and the program gets the benefit of the doubt. But I do agree, if I was just kind of looking at it with a side eye, that things just didn't seem right. This whole season has been messed up as far as the way that, I don't know. The other thing too is it appears to me, just looking from the outside looking in, that he kind of lost this team, right? He kind of lost them. He kind of lost the players. I mean, because here's the thing that really gets me. Let's say it is true that they were testing positive and, that's the reason why because of the COVID. You would think that a head coach that's Hall of Famer, coach USA basketball, all these other accolades that he has, will be able to connect with his players to go, look, in order for us to make a run and do what we have to do, we have to stay healthy. And you have to drive that into them. And granted, kids do what they want to do. But we talk about the great Coach K, right? So you can't control your players. You let them go home over the break. It's almost as if you were sabotaging, as you said, in a way, just letting them do whatever because you knew you couldn't win. One of your best players leaves, getting ready for the league because he just doesn't feel it anymore. It almost is like, this is not working, so we're just gonna shut it down. But we got some the caveat is we got some positive tests, but it's a lot going on, and you're gonna never ever hear that because people are too afraid to say what they really think when it comes to Coach K, because he sits on that pedestal and what he's been to USA basketball, so he's gonna get a pass. That'd have been somebody else. They'd be like, look, hey, what's the difference between you shutting it down like this and people taking cash to Arizona allegedly? I'm just saying, what's the difference? You affecting everything, college basketball. What is it? But you get a pass because people see it differently.
Like, I don't think he should get a pass on this because he was one of the first ones to jump out there and want wanting this to happen. Let the kids play. He didn't let the kids play. He didn't let them kind of just finish the season out on their own terms. He took that away from them. They came to Duke. He recruited them for a chance to play for Duke and to play in these tournaments and to see what they could do. And then he took it from them at the last end of the season. You know, it probably will never come out whether or not any of these players have tested positive or contact tracing or anything. But for me, and I'm saying this personally, for me, this is my opinion, I think this was the scapegoat to end the season because he's a sore loser.
You are 300% correct there, bro. I felt the same way. I thought the same. I thought when we talked about it, I might have been the only one that kind of brought that kind of angle up. To me, it's written all over this, bro. I mean, he's a big baby. He's a huge baby. And realistically, I'm hoping that this takes the luster for other kids that want to come to Duke in the future not to go there. Because I said this a year ago. I think Duke is going to start to do this. They're starting to go downhill when it comes down to college basketball. I think the one and dones don't want to go there anymore. So his talent is going to be kind of, you know, not what he's probably used to half of the last 5-10 years. And I think some of the rumors that came out from some of the past players that came out, their moms, what they said, I think some other players, hopefully they're paying attention and start to avoid Duke and let them kind of basically go down. I agree with you 100%. He was champion. We get out there, we can play. He didn't care less. You know, we lost too much last year. He didn't care. He wanted to be in the Final Four this year. When he realized, like I said, he lost the team. His players are not looking at him the same way. It's not there. He decided to shut it down. Who says the team has COVID and doesn't name a player? Since the COVID been going on in any sport, if someone comes down with COVID, you say their name. What is it now? You're saving the players? Nothing, just, oh, the team has COVID. Really? No specific player, though. And so, to me, here again, who's paying attention on the sports side? Because it's sure ain't ESPN. Because we know, I mean, I like Dick Vitale, but good gracious, does he sleep with a Dookie hoodie on that night or what? So we already know ESPN is not going to basically say anything about that push. I'm curious to see what's name would say about this. The old, I call you, what's his name? I can't think. He graduated from years ago.
Oh, Jay Billis.
Yes. I'm curious to see his comment on this because Jay Billis usually don't bite his tongue, even when it comes to Duke. He'll come out and say what he honestly believes. So it's going to be interesting how he kind of spilled this up. But come on, man. You don't have to be Columbo to see this. They probably knew they were basically on the bubble. If Duke would not make it into the tournament, that man might drive off a cliff. And I'm not trying to be funny, bro. He couldn't handle that. It's not about him. It's not about the kids, the school. It's about his mentality, what he's been used to. He's a selfish son of a gun. And you've seen it on full screen. He don't give a damn about those kids that they chose to come there. What do they care about them? I mean, realistically, think about all the past NBA players that came out of that school. How many of them really talk about him in a great way? They talk about Duke. They don't talk about Mr. K too much. Think about that for a second. When the last time you hear Grant Hill gave him a ringing endorsement?
Yeah, and I'm gonna let Ice give you a lecture on Dickie V and the real Dickie V, maybe offline. You might feel a little bit different about Dick Vitale and hey baby and all that other stuff. But anyway,
everybody has a right to their opinion.
Yeah. You sure shed some light to me. So offline, you'll get that. But let's go to college basketball. All the tournaments, March Madness is in full swing. I'm watching a lot of these tournaments and these automatic bids getting in early. And I know what's on TV now is Kansas about to beat Oklahoma to move on. But Ice Water, give me your eye test of what you're seeing as the tournament picture is kind of shaping up. And I'll take the camera off Black so none of you will see him writing notes because I don't know whether he's watching or not. I'm not even going to ask anymore. Well, give me your eye test, Ice.
It don't matter whether or not he's watching or not because it's coming. It's coming, man. It's here. So all of the other, the hoopla and everything, the judgment day is coming. And he's knocking on your door and he needs his rent. That's all I'm going to tell you. So, come Sunday, rent is due. It is due.
I'm ready to write the check, baby.
Rent is due. So if you ain't ready now, you ain't ready. There's no government assistance program that's gonna help you. I'm just saying. Anyway, but starting right there, man, you guys say a lot about Kansas. We talked about that before. Kind of warned you about them looking at coming for Baylor. and now they beat Oklahoma. I think they're going to start peaking. They get in there. That's a team you might want to watch out for. But the conference tournaments are showing you that some teams are really wanting it and are really heavy and they're ready. And other teams are going to be sliding by the wayside. I got to first throw out there that Georgetown has 2 wins, man, a couple wins.
Yeah, they just
Georgetown beat Villanova.
Yeah.
Wow. What?
Yeah.
So they beat Marquette and they beat Villanova. Villanova, as we said before, losing was a Gillespie. Just probably not the same team, man. And that's a damn shame because they had a lot of potential coming up there too. Oklahoma State with Cunningham, man, that dude is serious. But they upset West Virginia today. They look like they're making a little run too. And Kentucky lost to Mississippi State. Kentucky is 9-16. No tournament this year, fellas. 9-16. And then Butler beat Xavier and Maryland over Michigan State. And the Buckeyes won. Buckeyes trying to make a little run. They lost 4 straight against 4 pretty good teams, but they got to try to turn it around. There's a lot of chaos going on. Pay close attention to the conference tournaments, particularly this year, because we really didn't have a full season. And you might want to watch who's coming out of wherever because it's about to get hot. The hot teams are going to roll, and you better pay close attention. Even Gonzaga had a little scare the other night.
Yeah.
It's getting tight, and all I know is pay close attention. What you need to know is right in front of you. The question is, do you recognize it, Black Thor?
There have been a few scares. Gonzaga got a scare and grinded it out. Baylor got a scare a little bit earlier, grinded it out. And a lot of teams in these tournaments have gotten some scares. But you have some teams. I know Texas and Texas Tech plays tonight. That's going to be a good game to see out of that conference. But Black, I'm going to go to you, man. What you got?
What you coming to me for, man? I'm just waiting for Sunday, baby. I'm just waiting for Sunday. You know, enough of the yip yap, the chit chat. Who's taking notes? Who ain't taking notes? Who might be winning conference final? Yiggy yaga yo, whatever it is. Bring on Sunday, because that's when it all starts, man. That's when we all get down to what we got to get down to. And I'm ready, baby. I'm ready.
You ready?
Make sure your pop has his slip in right on time too, because I'm ready. That's what I'm talking about.
So yeah, me and I figured out a way to get Pop in and get his picks in. I'm going to be doing some personal picks with some of the guys that I know that like to pick and family members. But this should be an interesting tournament because it's all kind of wide open. Real quick about the Creighton story about their coach. I know some of you have been talking about that or been reading about that. What's your thoughts on that, Black, with him making the comment about, staying on the plantation? Now, we've said that years ago that these guys are indentured servants that play college basketball and that it's close to slavery. But he really kind of told the players how he really feels.
Here again, where is the NCAA when it comes down to this? I mean, realistically, it almost seemed like college basketball, football coaches and basketball, they could basically kind of do whatever they want for the most part until school basically says, you know what, we had enough, you can move on. I would find it hard to support or as a team to basically play under him. Now, how those players choose to do that, I don't know, man. I mean, I know I'm of age, but if I was younger, I would still feel the same way, bro. Once a statement like that comes out, how can you have respect? I mean, as a family member, you say to the player, really what's going on. So to me, the word itself speaks volumes, but what's the reaction from the university? What's the reaction from the kids? That would be my question. What's going on with them?
Yeah.
Ice, what are your thoughts about this, man?
Well, I mean, I think it's crazy that, he's been doing it for a long time. That's the one thing. See, one part that I don't understand is you do something for so long, you have this number of kids, and then all of a sudden you say, oh, I slipped up, oh, I made a mistake. It's like if I'm talking to you or we're talking about certain things, there's certain things you have something you want to say, what I call barbershop talk. You say that at the barbershop or in the den of your home, and that's who you are. And you can call that hiding or what you want to. But when you slip up, because you have to be aware and know what you're saying. How can you slip up and you've been doing this for so long and knowing the climate and the other kids that you have around you and the culture, and then you just say that, and then you go, well, I offered to resign, and then they like told me to stay or whatever like that too. But some of the kids was like, man, that's we're supposed to be past that. And that's what's really sad, because now in modern day times, you know, a lot of people are accepting of a lot of things and think we're past a lot of stuff. And then these kids that a lot of them have no idea what the hell is going on. I mean, except besides the Black Lives Matter thing, but they've never really been entertained or having to deal with that type of prejudice, if you will, or craziness. Now they're getting a rude awakening. Like, damn, coach, you came to my house 4 years ago, or 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, telling my mom how you understood and this, that, and that. And now we up in here, and here's what you do. Which, at what point was it really called for? What made you say that? Or that was just natural for you, and that's what it seems to be. So it's just, I don't know, man. You just really feel for the damn kids, because those are the ones that are stuck. I mean, you there, what you supposed to do? Leave now, or you got to start all over. It's a lot going on, man.
Yeah, I mean, to me, he had to know what he was saying, and like I said up top, is that this is really how he feels, and this is why I think a lot of these coaches feel about these players. These players are making them rich. And maybe these players are getting some fringe benefits from being collegiate players, but this is what they think of you. This is what they think of you. Student athletes, wake up, because you're putting a lot of money in their pockets. And if you're putting a lot of money in their pockets, and this is not a slip up, and he has the nerve to say that, then this is not a right he should have that coaching job. It's a privilege. That privilege should be taken away from him, regardless of what these players feel about him and what he's done for these players. You just don't do that as a professional. And so, I think they slapped him on the hand, say, come on back, and he's going to continue to coach. But future recruits, keep this in mind. Keep this in mind of what this coach is all about. And he just slipped up and just gave you the truth of who he is. All right. Let's go to the NBA. And there was a story about the Hall of Famers. And Chris Bosh is in one. Black is already. Chris Bosh is considered a Hall of Fame. Now, I can understand Paul Pierce being a Hall of Famer. But some of these guys that are on this list this year, I can give Chris. I can give, because I know you're frowning up, but I can give Pierce, because he held down the Celtics for when the Celtics weren't really a team to kind of watch. Got a championship. Of course, with other players coming in and helping him out. But, he did his thing as a Celtic. But Chris Bosh, I don't know. He never really played a full season. He joined a team that had two superstars, and he was kind of like the third wheel on a date. But I'm going to go to Black first on this. This list of 14 NBA players. Who needs to go and who doesn't need to go? Or should they even have like Major League Baseball, like, we're just not going to have one this year. Nobody gets in.
Yeah. I like that baseball did that. And I think the NBA could stand it, because to me, the NBA Hall of Fame, I don't even know what it stands for, bro. Realistically, what does it stand for? Because you could tell me, okay, he held it down. He gunned in Boston until Kevin Garnett came there. and he gunned. Does that make you a Hall? I mean, realistically, that make you a Hall of Famer? I mean, I look at Kevin Garnett, who basically took a franchise and carried a franchise. Paul Pierce didn't carry the Celtics. The Celtics weren't that good when he was there by himself. I mean, you came to town, he was going to get his 40 and go out and drink afterwards and almost get stabbed, bro. I'm just being honest with you. Does that make, I mean, so what is the foundation for NBA Hall of Fame? I'm sorry, when you put Yao Ming in Hall of Fame, let's be honest, bro. You put Yao Ming, you only played, 2 seasons, if that, together? So to me, the Hall of Fame in the NBA has no status. It's like, if we like you, the fans like you, we throw you in there. Oh yeah, bring out the pom-poms, just cheer a little bit. There's no status. It's not based on what you did to the game, where you excelled the game, where you move the game to a different level. To me, that's what a Hall of Fame player should be. In your particular position, You took the game and took it to a new level. You knew when you watched Oscar Robertson, a bona fide Hall of Famer, what you're going to see night in. You knew what he represent, what he stood for. What did Peter stand for? Gunning. Straight out gunning, bro. You know what I mean? So, I mean, and like you said about Chris Bosh, nice guy, Hall of Famer. Are you kidding me? Realistically, I just don't get it. But the NBA does this every year, man. They roll out people that people like so they can feel like they're doing something, and they fatten up. But to me, yeah, I don't. When I look at that list, I don't see anyone that jumps out. They go, least right for this year, they should go in. You know, Paul Pierce going to believe. I mean, he got pissed off when Boston wanted to do his night with somebody else, and he got upset about it. I'll be honest with you, bro. I've never been a big Boston Celtics fan, but if I was to look at the players of the Boston Celtics, where would he rank? Where would he rank? Just on pure talent as a player, where would he rank? Would his name even come up in a conversation? Let's be honest. Not really.
Well, he does rank second all time to John Havlicek. The other players that are on this list, you have Chris Webber. I'm not really feeling that. You have Ben Wallace from the Detroit Pistons, not feeling that. Michael Cooper. You have Tim Hardaway. Marcus Johnson, maybe, but it's like this list ice is like, I don't know. These guys really never, when you hear the Hall of Fame list come out and you hear players come out, especially in football, you go, oh yeah, that person, yeah, it's well overdue. But when this list came out, it was like, wait a minute, I'm not sure about this, Ice. Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're gonna put somebody in, that's how I look at it. I mean, they usually just don't put somebody in. So it's not like baseball. I don't think this year they put it out there, they won't put somebody in. So I look at it from that standpoint. So I'm gonna look at the list. If I look at the list and I'm like, okay, here's what I think is the best of the worst, if that's what you want to say.
The queen of the pigs.
I mean, yeah, whatever you want to say. But I think when I look at Chris Bosh, I'm like, okay, he was good in Toronto. He serviced them. It's kind of like, it reminds me of Kevin Love in a way. You know what I mean? So Kevin Love was all that in Minnesota. Then he went over to Cleveland. You still like, well, is he? I don't know. But if I had somebody say, I might say Weber. The reason why I say that is because remembering Chris Webber's game, he's like on that edge when they came in when the forwards started kind of being big and tall and moving around and being more mobile. And I'm not saying he was a totally dominant player, but the way he played was kind of the way that they start watching with Garnett and some other guys. The way that he played, each team, he ended up stepping up. Like when he was young, Golden State had him, with the run TMC, they used him wrong. He's in Washington. The front office didn't know what to do with him either, because you had a young Rasheed Wallace and Chris Webber on the same squad. You couldn't figure that out.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there going like shaking my head, man, what the hell are y'all doing? And I think they had Rod Strickland at the time.
Yeah.
Certain things just don't make sense. It's like you're supposed to win with that type of talent. And then of course, when he went to Sacramento, which he probably did the most is his bidding. Is he a over the top Hall of Famer? No, but if I look at his game and I compare it to this group, he probably would be up front for me. One of them, Marcus Johnson, just because he old school. Marcus Johnson was part of that old Milwaukee Bucks crew when he started running, pushing, coming past that Bob Lanier, Jack Sigma, kind of deal where he was making moves and he was a sweet small forward, kind of remind you in the same attitude or the same scoring type as like the Greyhound Walter Davis, sweet deep, something like that, just smooth. He could get his shot at any time. So from a sentimental standpoint, I'd say Marcus Johnson's would get in. The other ones too, I'm straight off the top, maybe two more. Pierce, I'm kind of whatever. I know he's been waiting a long time, and I can either, take him or leave him. But two people I think, one is already in, well, two people I think should get in. Bill Russell, just because of the coaching aspect. You win 2 championships coaching the team, and you can say the Celtics were loaded. You still have to take the reins from Red Auerbach, and move forward. He won 2 championships as a coach in 3 seasons. That says a lot. The NBA was a lot tougher than people think, and he made it happen. And then the first African-American coach really to kind of like do so as that coach to win that championship. And the other person It might, I don't know if people are familiar, but the other person I'm gonna throw out there is Yolanda Griffith. I'm trying to tell y'all, if you don't know nothing about damn basketball, she was the female Michael Jordan, and she just never got the credit. I watched her in the ABL when she first came out of college. That's before they joined up with the WNBA, and that's when women's basketball was on its height. I wish they had some tapes, because you want to see women's basketball at its finest, where the best of the best were competing. That damn ABL for about, I don't know how many years it lasted, because we had a team in Columbus, Ohio. It was fire. It was loaded with Olympic stars going at each other. So when they played, it wasn't no, well, we keep looking at this. It wasn't soft. Women came in here with broken noses. Dude, they was checking. You thought you was at a hockey match. That's how serious they were about it. It was serious. I love that. Then, of course, WNBA, they expanded it because they wanted to get the best players and they had the money. So they disbanded it. But Yolanda Griffith, and she wore 23. She could play, come to the rack, she block your shot. She could take the rack, and it was almost like one of them things where you could just see. I think she might have been one of the first people that you thought could really dunk the ball. She was treacherous, man. She's a hell of a player, and she deserves to get in because she was a force in the ABL and was a force in the WNBA. Other people, the Cheryl Millers and other people get the accolades, but you go back and look up Yolanda Griffith, and you just, especially from a defensive standpoint, she felt there is nobody she could not check. I loved it. She was so gritty, like, I'm a lockdown defender and I can score. I loved the game, so athletic, and I think a lot of people missed the boat on her, so she definitely deserves to get in my opinion.
Okay, it should be interesting on who gets in and how they kind of work this, but yeah, it's slim pickings with this one. Black, did you watch the All-Star game, man, or the slam dunk contest?
I saw. I think I was watching. Yeah, I was watching a game last night. They just showed some highlights. It almost seemed like were they playing the game and staying 6 feet apart from each other?
No defense. Half court shots, 3-pointers. Yeah.
I mean, realistically, that's a joke, bro. I mean, I'm sorry, bro. I mean, I got better things to do in my time. No, I don't watch that, man. I couldn't. I just really can't.
Yeah, I didn't watch too much of it. I would every time I would see a travel or nobody playing defense, I would just turn to something else. Ice, how about you, man?
I picked in on a little bit. I didn't see any like the 3-point shots or anything like that. I saw just I saw the highlights of Curry doing what he did. I mean, that was impressive because that's who he is. But the dunk contest, I was like, I missed that. And then the game itself, not having somebody like Durant in it, knowing he was going against LeBron, and just the fact that they had everything on the same day was just like rushed. And I know I appreciate them using the tagline of them using it to support the HBCU schools, but damn, can we get a full weekend? Or y'all treating us like Black History Month? We get the shortest month.
Shortest month of the year.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so can we get one year? Can we get a full weekend, a full all the money? I mean, you still appreciate the money, but damn, it was like, well, we can't do Black Lives Matter anymore because you upset too many people, but we can give money to HBCU. So that's kind of the side kind of, where they kind of slide them some money, them some money without offending other people by saying Black Lives Matter. Anyway, but no, I didn't watch a lot of it, man. And then you can still by LeBron saying what he was saying. He really didn't want to be there. A lot of dudes didn't want to be there. And I'll say this, I'm going to get off this. I'm going to say it probably again too. How in the hell, when you bring them dudes on private planes on Saturday, right before Sunday, that you did not know what was going on with some of them guys? And I'm talking about Philadelphia, Ben Simmons and Embiid. Mm-hmm. You rushed them over there. They over there getting haircuts. They had to know what the hell was going on. And then they still over there waiting. And they didn't play. How much money was that, man? How much money was it to fly them when you knew they tested positive? And now to get over there and it's like, well, now we found out you got tested positive, you can't play. Man, what a waste. That there shows to me that somebody dropped the ball and what was the purpose of them being there? But if you got the money, I guess it's your money. So whatever, but damn.
Yeah. We'll probably do an eye test when the full schedule is kind of in swing next week. But there are some trading rumors. They're talking about San Antonio talking about trading the big man, which is way overdue because he could not take the place of Tim Duncan, and I don't know what they were thinking of when they grabbed him. And it's rumors that Portland wants to pick him back up, which he never should have left Portland. But I don't know, man. I'll send it over to you, Black. Any trade rumors that you're hearing as we're getting close to the trading deadline?
I like it when even said this with Les Mile, mutually agreed. Yeah, okay. Yeah. That's what Aldridge, he mutually agreed to go somewhere else. Bro, I mean, I looked at them last night, man, and Aldridge to me, he has been a big disappointment. You know what's been a big disappointment on that team? Rudy Gay.
Yeah.
To me, his career has been a big disappointment, man. I mean, he left UConn with so much promise, and he came to the league, and he just never lived up to it. And Aldridge is another. When he left Portland, he had a game in Portland. He went to San Antonio, and you realize that, hey, you got to be the man. You won't have someone else to really back you at this point. They want you to be the man. He couldn't carry it, bro. And they should have released him a long time ago. I know Popovich wanted to, but he chose not to. But, I mean, I don't know who they would trade him to. Portland, don't be that stupid to take him back. Just don't, man. Let them release him. If you want to pick him off the wire, get him then. But don't make a trade for him. He's not worth it. His game has basically depleted itself. That's a bad move. The man is 35, 36 years old. Please stop it.
Yeah, Blake Griffin finds his way to Brooklyn. Hasn't got on the court yet. And I was watching a clip from, what's the show on Fox with Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless? And Shannon was kind of going in on KD, saying, you know what, you wanted to be the man on this team. Now you're grabbing all these players, but you were complaining about other teams grabbing the best players in the league. So now Brooklyn has it, but Blake is not playing. KD is still out with a hamstring. I know you're loving Brooklyn and the moves they're making, but if you're only playing if you got 4 superstars and only 2 are on the court at a time, you know, can the championship be in the future?
I'm gonna just say this. This blows my mind. And you're not the only person, but there are other individuals. When you make moves like this, when they ain't playing, what you gotta realize something. Let's do this history lesson real quick. We ain't got all this time, but I'm gonna do a little quick history lesson. You know, everybody loved Michael Jordan. Everybody loved the Bulls when they was winning and the greatest. You live in Chicago. I know you ain't the biggest Bulls fan, or Jordan fan, but there are a lot of people that were and watched the documentary. But my point is this. You know, certain front offices make moves that don't make sense to a lot of people. Like, how many times did the Bulls go back and get guys that beat them or guys that were older and they just kind of stored them away? I'm talking like Bill Cartwright. I'm talking about like James Edwards. And you go, well, he ain't played. He don't have to play. It's like you put him in a bottle, break glass in case of an emergency. That's what you do. That's how you win championships. Blake Griffin don't have to play. They have enough people that Harden doing what he does. KD don't have to play as long as they win and get enough close games. And as you mentioned, though, without them playing, they still in the second seed, right? They still number 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what else you want to do? I mean, you want to be number 1 seed? It doesn't really matter. They just have to be ready when it's time. And that's how a lot of them do it. The good teams anyway. So you can say, well, why ain't Blake Griffin playing? Okay, the more he don't play and the more they keep winning, the better off they are. Because when it comes time, you're going to go. It's kind of like when Bill Walton was sick for 19 years with the Clippers. Then all of a sudden he come to Boston and he healed. He could try to contribute to the team. Man, come on. Anyway, all I'm saying is I think that they picked him up. He must be able to show something. When the time is right, they're going to use him. So if he doesn't play a lot of games coming up, it's no big deal in them. That's how they're going to roll with it. But when you look at some of these other free agents, I don't know what the hell Houston's doing down there. I don't even know why. Now that I look at it, I don't even know why you picked up John Wall. Because, they're not using them. You got over the Depot that's on the expiring contract. Then you're ready to get rid of him. You're talking about getting rid of Gordon and the other small forward, PJ, all these people. And it's like, if you were going to rebuild, why did you do what you did to bring these guys in? Yeah. All the people's on the expiring contract. Now you look like, well, now we're going to build around Wood. So what you doing? You still owe Wall some money. I don't get it. Just seems like total chaos to me down there. I don't understand it. The whole Boogie Cousins thing, you are all in. This is what we're going to do. We're going to make a run. And now it's like, We getting rid of everybody. I don't get that. Like I said, Oladipo, somebody's going to want him. There's a chance they're talking about moving. Drummond is just sitting around in Cleveland as well.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody might try to pick up Drummond, but I would not be surprised if a lot happens here shortly as we get real close, because some people is going to just say, look, you're not going to get anything for him. Like, why would you hold on to Oladipo right now? He has an expiring contract. You're not going to get anything from him because he's not going to re-sign with you. Why wouldn't you trade him again to somewhere else and let him go and then have that money for the salary cap? I'm telling you, I said it from the beginning. I know the players, it's kind of more of a players league where they decide who they want to play with and stuff like that too. But these general managers are making me kind of scratch my head. It's like, do you really know what the hell you're doing? Because again, like I said, back in the day, I'm just going to the 80s, there's a reason why only 7 damn franchises were winning all the titles, because their general managers and their front office people made the right moves. People like, well, is that really what? Check it out. 7 teams out of the whole damn NBA was dominating NBA championships because they made better decisions. I'm confused, Houston. I'm confused.
Yeah. Some of the teams I saw with Aldridge is Portland and the Lakers. It was another team, but I can't remember. Yeah, like just grabbing up teams. The other thing I'm gonna mention before we get off the NBA is that they need to go back to the Eastern and Western Conference. Forget getting these teams all together. Oh, I enjoy playing with Steph Curry and all this little love fest. East and West, make the game more meaningful. Whatever conference wins, whatever team gets in the final, whether East or West, the conference that wins the All-Star game, they get home court advantage. Make it mean something, because right now it means nothing, and I'm not really invested in watching it if it means nothing.
I'll say this about NBA players, man. And to me, this is one of the big differences between them and NFL. NFL use you up quick. They realize what you have. They use you up quick, and they move beyond you. NBA live off your past, man, because you're signing Blake Griffin now for whatever you signed him for based on his past, not what he can give you. He has nothing in the tank, bro. The man can barely get off the ground. So I don't care if you play him in the finals, you play him in the playoffs, you play him in the locker room. He has nothing to give you. So to sign him and put him on the bench, I mean, I agree. You stack players that can give you a few minutes and give you something. The man can barely get him down the court. Let's be honest. But they're thinking that he did it one time, he can do it again, and they're gonna see. We all said, we'll go turns around, they'll see. It's just a move of stacking. He has nothing to give. He's a shell of himself. But that's what they do with NBA players. If you were good at one point, they sit around and think, okay, they could do this, and they could do this, and they keep waiting for it to reappear, and it just doesn't happen, man. The NBA live off the past way too much. They need to look at the future.
All right, moving to the NFL. Dak finally gets his money. Let's go to our resident Dallas Cowboy fan. He held out. He bet on himself. He got the $40 million. So now we're going to see whether or not he can take Dallas to the next level. Ice, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, mentioned it earlier. It made sense after a while for both parties. From the standpoint, Dallas tried to find somebody else or whatever, didn't work out. Dak is still in the moment of trying to prove that he's worthy. And then also he got hurt. So, I mean, the two parties came together. It's like, you know what? We need to get past ourselves because we both struggled. I really don't want to be anywhere else. Kind of like that old girlfriend. You were like, look, I was out here in these streets looking around and stuff like that. And then you realize, well, damn, we may not be the best, but damn, we're pretty good together. We still love each other. We might as well get it going. And they're like, what the hell? Why not? Because, I mean, simply put, even though I have railed on Dak about leading the team and all that too, right now, he's the best fit for them. He is the best fit for wherever they're trying to go. Now, they still probably need a head coach, need a lot of other things, but he is the best fit for that team, particularly from an offensive standpoint, to do that. So why not? I mean, why not? I mean, everybody talks about it. You can run around it, but like I said, at the end of the day, it just made sense because now you're trying to start all over with a new quarterback. Dude is right there, and evidently he must be somewhere healthy because they gave him the money. So just, kiss and make up and move on.
Black, I know how you feel about Tony Kornheiser on PTI ESPN, but he said something hilarious, and that's why I love this guy. Is that he said when they signed Dak Prescott, he said this is the end of First Take as we know it, because that's all they talked about on First Take. So what do you think about Dak being signed by the Dallas Cowboys finally?
You know what's interesting? ESPN, let me say this real quick, man, was trying to bring back Skip Bayless and put him back together with Stephen Smith. Are you kidding me? I mean, remember I say living in the past. That tells me how desperate ESPN really is, bro. Mm-hmm. That tells me they ain't happy with First Take. They ain't happy with all that, because if you're trying to bring back Skip Bayless to talk to him, Skip Bayless can care less now. He can care less. He's not doing that. Anyway, I think almost similar in a small way to what Pittsburgh was kind of faced up with. Dallas was forced to make this move. You had no other options. They really didn't, because you have no other quarterback that's going to come in and play. You don't want to bring somebody in. You have the receiver sign. You know, you have your running back. You have to kind of step up and do what you have to do. They didn't want to franchise him again. It was going to be more money this year. So they wanted to kind of basically have something, and the franchise tag the following year going to go up even higher. So you're going to pay him. If you kept franchising, you were going to pay him more money each year. I'm a little surprised that they kind of, you know, for him, I think it's a beautiful thing because he's coming off injury. Excuse me. I don't care what he believes. The first half part of the season, he's not going to be Dak Prescott. It's going to take him a while to get out there and find out who he really is and do some things. I will say this though. You got 4 years, bro. You got to make it within these 4 years, man. You got to make it. He got to put a show on for these 4 years, bro. I know he has his money, but I don't say this as a Giants fan. I just say this when I get the Cowboys. The Cowboys make a splash a lot of times, and I kind of said it. They got other problems with this team, bro. You got a head coach that can't coach out of a paper bag. You got a defense that don't know what they're doing. A bad defense coordinator, they fire him, but the defense is horrible. You have Zeke, who really don't know if he wants to run the ball anymore. He wants to be, you know, doing something totally different. That team is just not gelled together correctly. I mean, even with a backup quarterback, that's a division they should have won last year, and they couldn't. They could not put it together with all that talent they have. They could not make changes and take that division. I mean, I'm happy for Dak, but I don't see what elevates the Cowboys in any form or fashion. Just keep in mind, he was 0-4 or 0-5 before he got hurt. 0-4. You know what they say about playoff teams? If you go 0-4, that you don't make the playoffs. So they may not have made it if he stayed healthy last year. So, I mean, congratulations to him. But I'm not sure it benefits the Cowboys unless he comes in and ball out, bro. He has to ball out. To me, balling is not falling down by 40 points and then you put up a bunch of points. That's not balling out. That's not it. No, you need to step in some games and take over from the beginning. Take over the game, show who you are. And to me, that's what Dak hasn't done since he's been in the league, in my opinion.
All right, so we're going to go to Major League Baseball. A story that came across my screen earlier, Yasiel Puig, who may not be in baseball at all, ever. There's some pending sexual allegations out on him. He's been bouncing from team to team to team. And it just seems like teams aren't really excited about bringing him on. It's just a problem now. And he might be out of baseball for good. You can go with that story or any other story you have on Major League Baseball, sir.
Yeah, I mean, but with Puig, when you look at it from standpoint, I think he kind of hit his, he hit his peak, right? When he was lustrily, everybody loved him. He was on fire. But then I think the skill started to erode a little bit, maybe gained a little weight. And now you're bringing this other extra thing about these allegations about him connecting with women in a certain kind of foul way. Then that just adds more to it. I mean, you got to hit the ball, man. That's one thing about baseball. They only tolerate you unless you are delivering. And right lately, he has not been doing that. He's been bouncing from here and there. Maybe possibly people talking about signing to a minor league contract. But there's too many other people out there now that are hungry that will take your spot. So he's not one of those guys that can command a bunch of money. And he might have to be careful. Right, he might be out of the league, especially the way that baseball has been catching hell from the cheating to all of the other scandals. So he might be on his way out. So we'll see how that plays out. There's always somebody in the rafters waiting. Other story I like to look at is David Price, the pitcher David Price is with the Dodgers now. And for years, he was a pretty decent starter, when he did with Boston and made things happen. But now they're saying there's a possibility that he would be willing to come out of the bullpen. Mm-hmm. That's kind of interesting. So if he can get that going around, we've seen some pitchers in the past do the same thing. But if he can really become maybe a kind of 3-inning guy, or really hell in baseball now, a 2-inning guy, because now nobody pitches more than 4 damn innings. It's sad, man. And middle relievers or whatever it may be. But if he can come in and be a force for a couple innings, and because of his veteran experience, and then also the fact that he's been on the big stage, it could be something that the Dodgers could use. Because we know now, since they won it, then we expect them to come back again. But that might be a little bit too much to ask. We'll leave that right there.
The person I thought about when they mentioned this story is Dennis Eckersley with the Oakland A's, who was a starter and then became a closer and a reliever, and he's in the Hall of Fame. So I think that would be great for him, and I think I would start him off as a starter and then see how the season goes, and then if I needed him as a reliever, I would do that. You can do that with him because I think he is versatile like that, and he went up to management and said, "Listen, I'm willing to do anything I can to play for you." So you got a player that's willing.
No way, I'm with you on that. But you mentioned about Dennis Eckersley when he was in Cleveland as a starter, then he switched over. I probably would start Price out in the bullpen because I want him to get ready early on for his role. So if he wants to come in, let's say we have an off day and we pitch him as a starter. If your rotation is that daggone strong, where he is sitting on the bench because it's that strong, why even press it? He can be more dangerous. It's kind of like a mop-up quarterback. Some backup quarterbacks will hellify. And some people relish that role, and maybe that's a role he wants to relish in because he wants to be part of a winner. I throw a quarterback at you that relished his role, even though he's a top-notch quarterback in the league as a starter, Randall Cunningham. When he loved being a backup. Yeah. He's like, don't you want to go somewhere and start? He's like, hell no, I'm good. I carry a clipboard. You call me in emergencies. So I think that David Price, though, considering what's going on with the Dodgers, less work, less wear and tear on your arm, and championships, and a little cash. I ain't mad at that. Why pitch hardcore 4 innings now that you don't have to when you can pitch 2, get your money, get your ring, and live happily ever after?
All right, a few fights last weekend. Adonis got dropped, not dropped, but he got beat by John Balchovic. I hope I'm saying his name right. I call him the Polish Hammer. That's a big dude. And Israel Adonise moving up in weight. And I thought that was a little bit too much for him, moving up into light heavyweight. He's usually fighting at the middleweight. And saw that fight where his opponent really kind of handled him and had a great strategy against him. And then the Lioness, Nunez, against Anderson. And she has a baby cub now. And that those lioness in the woods, they are hunters and they are fighters. So now she looks more dangerous with a child. Give me some of your thoughts about these 2 bouts.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm gonna start with the men. Trying to move up to light heavy, like you said, the big fighter, the Polish gentleman, was making it happen. He was not. He knew that if he could stay away and then take him to the ground, then that's what he had to do. And it was clearly too much for our brother to try to move up and make it a good fight. So it shows you, though, that he needs to go back down the middleweight where he belongs, stay there, and not even think about coming up to try to see John Jones. He had this fairy tale. Right. John Jones will hurt you, bro. If you thought that man was trying to hurt you, you don't want to see John Jones. John Jones is all thick now. He about 245. He thick as hell. He will hurt you in every way. So you might want to leave that alone. And secondly, what can I say? My favorite fighter, man. The Lioness, man. Are you kidding me? Man, she is such. Oh man, she came out there and the girl ran her mouth, telling her what she was gonna do. Said the girl was a puncher. My girl was like, all right, whoop, pop, pop, pop. Start dude, I'm telling you, I want to see her fight a dude, but I know they ain't gonna let that happen. And I really don't want to see women fight men, but she could be the man just because of her skill set. And like you said, she came out. This is how good she is. She comes out, the girl was pretty good, and she's starting to beat her down, hitting her in the face. Then she takes her down to the ground. And she literally could have just kept pounding her and really put her out, but she just pulled her arm back and, put her in like an arm bar. And she could have broke her arm, but she just made her quit. Kind of like a nice lady. She's like, you know what? I just wanted to get in, get out, go home, see my baby. Baby was right there. The lioness, I told you, man, you do not, I'm telling you. I don't know who's coming. They keep making all these names up. Like they done made up, then they brought up, called her. Well, she said, well, I knocked out Ronda Rousey. You brought out the preacher's daughter. Then you brought out Cyborg. She like, look, you keep bringing them up, I'll keep knocking them down. That's what she said. I just keep, they said, you gonna move up around? She said, I ain't going nowhere. I'm gonna stay right here. I'm gonna keep whooping ass. I got a daughter now. I'm good. Until y'all keep writing them checks. Next. That's how she is. I love her, man. She is such a competitor. She's a professional. She's about the business. And she really showed you what a great athlete she is. When you talk about greatness and you look at her craft, man, hands down, that's my girl. I love her. She got skills, bro. Throw them hands.
Yeah. I'm on the Shane boxing again this week. I read a story that the Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua fight may not happen, but the Wilder fight may be on. They're still talking about planning on fights. But there's another UFC fight this Saturday. I think Edwards and Muhammad. So UFC just keeps rolling on. Boxing keeps stalling. I don't know. So Black, why you mad, son?
Trying to find something this week, man. Other than I'm just tired of hearing about March Madness. Ready to get to it, baby. I'm just tired. I'm just ready to get to it. I will say this, man, that nothing to be mad about. I am kind of surprised that college basketball has moved along the way it has, based on how it started with things going on in the pandemic when it kind of got started. And I kind of didn't think it would make it to this point, but to his credit, it's here, man. It kind of basically withstood the storm, and it looked like it's going to be a very nice tournament. Yeah, very nice tournament. So to them, kudos. I take my hat off, and that's not really being mad. That's being respectful in the sense that they was able to get it done.
All right. Ice, why you mad, son?
Houston, Texas. Y'all didn't get it yet. You have not got the memo. You refuse to get the damn memo.
I'm not getting it.
So now Deshaun Watson told you, he met with the coach and told him, I have no desire, I have no plans to play ever again for the Houston Texans. They did go out and sign Mark Ingram. Okay, that's going to help you a little bit. But the question is, here's my thing, and I'm going to get this real quick. I don't understand. When you brought the new coach in, Cully, we talked about him before. Why do you think you can just manhandle this dude and tell him you're gonna punk him like he has to play for your team? You really don't think he'll sit out? I know a lot of people love the money and everything like that, but Deshaun Watson, I think he's really about that business. I don't want to play for y'all. I sit out. You still got to get another quarterback. So guess now what y'all doing? Because you don't want to be caught out with your, hand in the cookie jar too quick before you get caught. Now you have to look at other alternatives at quarterback. And guess who you have an offer on the table with? Your favorite man and mine, Jameis Winston. Yeah, that's how you're going now. Yes, they consider signing him. Because if you don't have Watson, what you going to do? If Watson don't play, you got to get somebody. So Jameis Winston's going to be eating caviar, riding in Ubers, doing all that. He is the creme de la creme in the free agency market right now. New Orleans, Houston, what about Carolina? He's the dude. He's the dude. So rock on, brother. Just, keep your hands to yourself, allegedly. Anyway, keep it moving.
Yeah. Drew Brees is pushing like little sleds through parking lots and stuff like that. Working out. He coming back, bro. He coming back, man.
Man.
Hey, Dennis Roethlisberger down all over again. That man can only throw the ball 25 yards. You saw that.
Yeah, I'm just mad at NFL franchises just being hypocritical and paying these old quarterbacks thinking they got Tom Brady. Where Cam gonna play next year? I'm trying to figure out, they keep saying Washington. Where Cam gonna play next year?
Atlanta.
They
got, why not? You be the backup. You already have the cigar shop down there.
And Houston has no quarterbacks on their roster other than Watson.
They have one.
It's amazing.
I don't know what that is, but they just gonna make Watson play. We're gonna make you play, boy. Really? Okay. Wait for that.
I guess they're telling them to stay on the plantation. I don't know.
Okay.
Anywho.
So what they gonna say? I'll do that, and I'm because you know that's the thing. They all why is it that and I don't give too quick. Why is it that they always think because we have shown them as African American athletes that there's no exceptions to the rule. Somebody's gonna go, I don't need that. I'm gonna stand on my principles. I got enough money. I got enough money for at least a year to wait you out because you ain't doing nothing but really hurting yourself. Because we don't want to play, you still got to get a quarterback.
Yeah. But they're not getting it. They're not listening, and they would be smart to handle this right away. But I think they're going to wait until the draft and then try to do it. But it may be too late then. It really may be too late because at that particular time, they would probably get desperate to try to make a move, and then teams will really go, okay, well, you're going to have to take this in order to take that.
I'm telling you, you better go to Miami right now. They got another few little picks. Get all them damn picks and take Tua and move on. That's what you should do. When you really look at it, you can say whatever because that's somewhere he wants to go. Like, well, what about the Jets? You know, that there's a little falsehood about that too. If he really wants to go to the Jets, you better go and let him go to Miami because if Jones, the running back, goes to Miami, and you take Deshaun Watson down there too, and a couple of other wide receivers, man, I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah. Black, first question.
I saw a story where Patrick Ewing said he was walking around Madison Square Garden.
Here we go.
And they were basically asking him for identification. And he said, I should be able to walk around here without any ID. I'm going to just put that out there, get your all opinion. And when I come back to me, I'm just going to swing it back and give my thoughts. What's your thoughts in thinking that Patrick Ewing, he should be able to walk around Madison Square Garden in the time we live in now with no ID, and they just look at him, security guards should look at him and not question him?
Ice?
Man, y'all going to make me have a conniption fit over here. First of all, the man is 7 foot plus, right? Ain't like he a 6'3" brother with a hat walking around with a hoodie on. The man is 7 foot. He got to be somebody. Yeah, animal trainer, whatever else. He has to be something. He's over 7 foot. And you mean to tell me some people are that clueless? If anything else, they should be having screens with his face on there so they know who the hell he is. But when you're 7 foot, you gonna ask him for identification. What else is he doing? You can't rob nobody. You can't, I mean, what you doing at 7 foot? You're on camera. If I was him, I would never go back. I would never go back. Well, he has to go back because he's coaching basketball. But in regards to I wouldn't even mess with the Knicks, man. I'm serious. I mean, that is so damn disrespectful. I mean, Bill Russell, yeah, I get that because that's how they was rolling it. And he didn't go back to Boston for a long time because the way they played him. He wasn't feeling it. And then you got to have ID. It's Patrick Ewing. I mean, seriously. It ain't what's the one? Y'all had a couple backup players that played up for the Knicks back in the day that people probably don't even remember. But it's Patrick Ewing, man. I don't know, Pat. You might want to cut your losses, bro.
Who wouldn't recognize Patrick Ewing in Madison Square Garden? Yeah, I'm trying, and I know they have to do protocol and all that other stuff, but Patrick Ewing?
It ain't Spike Lee.
Yeah, it ain't Spike Lee.
He's 7 foot.
So I'm not sure about that. I understand the Spike Lee thing about the elevator and stuff like that. But this is Patrick Ewing. Who else is going to be in the building? Ain't no fans in the building. I mean, this is Patrick Ewing. So, his numbers in the Raptors. I'm pretty sure they got pictures of the Knicks and videotape of them rolling and people who are on staff there have seen the history and all this other stuff. That's when they were good. But yeah, I know there's protocol and all that other stuff. And maybe he's feeling himself. But man, this is really bad PR to me for the New York Knicks. But Black, I know you're gonna have another perspective that he ain't nobody. He ain't bring no championship. So
I'm I'm not even going to say that, man, because to you guys' argument, you have a point. But if their policy, when you come in and they give you an ID and they tell you to wear it, then Pat, you got to wear it. It's not about who you are, whatever the case is, bro. That's their policy. And what Spike Lee's situation and this situation says to me is that you don't really care about the other man's job. That's their job. Their job is not to look at you and determine, okay, you're Patrick Ewing, I don't check you. Their job is to make sure you have ID on. If you don't, they have to stop. That's their job, bro. There's nowhere in their job that says because you're who you are, I'm not going to do my job. You have made millions, Pat. You have made millions, but they got a job to do, bro. They're not making close to what you're making to coach Georgetown. So this is where your ego kicks in. If they gave you if I guarantee you was in Villanova, if you were somewhere else in Philly playing, what would you have on? He would not walk around with not wearing his ID. But you believe you did something in Madison Square Garden, so you should go. You can go there. I'm just going to take it off. So you're inviting that smoke, bro. You brought it to yourself, but you don't want to see that. But here again, they have serious protocol they must follow. Their job is on the line. Let's say they get in trouble for not questioning you and they get fired. What are you going to do for them? And I'm just going to say this, man. I've been to the Garden numerous times over the years. There's been times when I've been able to watch games free there based on their security. But they do a damn good job, bro. They just do. They're tight about it. They're square about it. So I'm just tired of seeing people with egos like Spike Lee. They tell you to go another way. You feel like you ain't got to go that way. You've been buying. That's not the point, bro. They have a job to do. Nobody comes on your movie set and tell you what to do. You wouldn't have it. Same thing, Patrick Ewing. Nobody's going to come in your practice and tell you what to do. Respect another man or another woman's job. And that's what it comes down to me. And they don't want to, in a sense, because they feel their ego is better. And they have some right of passage in Madison Square Garden. And Pat, let's be honest, bro. You didn't bring one home. You didn't bring one home.
That was coming.
Stop acting like you brought one home because you didn't. You didn't bring one. And probably the people that's asking you, they may not have been born when you was playing for the Knicks, bro.
Yeah.
So you assume they know who you are. I mean, yeah, you 7 foot tall, but they got a job to do, just like you have a job to do. Allow them to do their job. And that's what happens a lot of times, man. We look at people that jobs that we don't respect, we don't like, and we think we can bully them around and treat them less than. And they just don't allow you to do it.
All right. Ice, your question?
I'm gonna rebut on that. My thing is they need to have a damn visual facial recognition. You see, we got this big 7 foot, bruh. Does anybody recognize him? Oh, yeah, that's Patrick. And I understand what you're saying, but I'm sitting there going like, damn. Anyway, that's for another show. Maybe that's how they roll in New York. That's why I live in the Midwest. Anyway, moving on. Crazy. But now NCAA tournament is coming up. Give me 3 sleepers for the NCAA tournament that you like.
I got one for you. Duke.
They ain't gonna make it. That's not fair. They're not gonna make it.
Oh man. All right, Black. They put you on the spot, baby.
I'm gonna take I don't know how far they can go, but I never count them out. They get in, I think they'll make some noise. They win a few games. I'm only gonna give you 2 that I can think of. I watched Michigan State play Michigan, and let me give the coach of Michigan a big ups because he's done a hell of a job, turning around that team and getting them to play well. I watched him lose to him one night. They come back and won the other. And something about Izzo, this time of the year, he finds a way to get his team to play well. I'm not saying they can make a run, but I think they're gonna do better and probably what their record looks like. And of course, what can I say about Bill, up there in Kansas? So I guarantee you when the lights really get bright, they're gonna find a way to screw up a couple of games. So those are probably my 2 right there, and that I can pull up.
All right, I'm gonna try not to go to the top 25, but one of my sleepers is Oregon, and then watch out for Clemson. They may be able to take some teams out, and I'm gonna go with Michigan State, even though they dropped a couple. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, Ice, where you kind of laid out the schedule, and I said, Michigan State's gonna get at least 2 of these games, and I think they got more than 2. To maybe secure them a spot in the big dance. But who are your sleepers, man?
Duke. No, I'm just playing. No, if this team gets in, I think they can be a sleeper because the way that they play, and then they get outside the conference. I think their biggest issue is they played in one of the best conferences, and they just kept getting in their way, finding these difficult opponents. First one's going to be Rutgers. I think if Rutgers get in, they have shown over the season that they can really battle with some of the teams in the Big Ten. They beat some teams they should not have you thought, and they lost some teams you think they should have beat. The other team would be Oklahoma State. Cunningham is the truth. I mean, he is the truth. And if they get in the tournament, he can drop 35, 40, and that can carry you a long way. I remember back in the day when in the 80s when Roosevelt Chapman played at the University of Dayton, he had that nice little 5-game tier they went on, and they just kind of ran for a long time. I think they got to the 8, and you just never know with a hot player and a hot team. And last but not least is because everybody's doubting them, and if they're not going to make it through, they win these games, they're up and down. But the way that they play basketball, particularly in the half court, my third selection is going to be Wisconsin. You can never count them out when it comes to the tournament, because they're right there and they play slow down ball when they need to. And you start missing shots and missing free throws. Type of team that upset Baylor in the third round, second round. You'd be like, what the hell happened? What happened to Baylor? Wisconsin 49, Baylor 43.
All right, Black, you got another question?
Yeah, man, this is interesting, man. This was get you guys thought on this one. John Kittner, remember him? He played for the Cincinnati Bengals years ago.
Yeah.
He said that back then he was playing, he played with guys that were drunk.
For the Bengals, no.
Now, he said one drunk player one time had reception of 200 yards. So at some point, one of us got to research that and find out who this player is, man.
So one player did what?
He said one game, one of the players that was intoxicated went for 200 receiving yards. So when I
got in mind who that may be. Well, I'm gonna wait for Ice because I think he weighs number 85. But Ice, what are your thoughts?
I mean, look, I'm gonna just be real. See, that we always think about these athletes and everybody's, you have to be in the best condition to give you the best performance. But I told you before on this show that there are some people that do well when they intoxicated. I told you my dude in high school dropped about 29 and he was blowing on Mad Dog. So I'm just trying to 2020. Anything is possible. So if the ball is caught in the right area and the guy's feeling good and he catches it, you never know what he might feel superhuman. Remember, in baseball, Doc Ellis pitched a no-hitter on LSD. He never remembered it after, but he pitched a no-hitter. So I'm not surprised by that because that was, back in the day and it was Cincinnati. So, who's going to tell him don't drink? You play? You good? Yeah, all right, I'm good.
Man, Ocho Cinco malt liquor. I'm pretty sure it's Ocho Cinco. All the crazy stuff he was doing on the field. I don't know who that may be. Or what's the other guy, the other receiver? I can't pronounce his name. Hosamada, whatever. He had a Samoan name.
TJ
Houshmandzadeh.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Those are the only two that I can think of that might have went for 200 yards while Kittner was playing. I would go with those two because they were the main receivers. But Black, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, anything is possible. I mean, I think you nailed it with the potential two receivers. Yeah, it's Cincinnati, baby. I'm not saying the teams haven't experienced this, but
I'm surprised.
Yeah, why would you be surprised? Cincinnati are the team that got a player that's drinking. And then it makes me think about years ago, man. I'm not saying he wasn't an awesome, talented player, but we know what was fueling Lawrence Taylor when he was playing, baby.
Yeah,
and we know that was just no ordinary play. I mean, he had it in him, but they just allowed him to do what he had to do. So yeah, it's if it's Ocho Cinco, it says a lot to me in a sense because I mean when he went to the Patriots, he couldn't read the book, bro. He couldn't read his receiver's book. They had to spend time with him going over, and I don't think he ever got it. That says a lot, man.
Wow,
that says a lot. And they didn't even cut him out of respect. Bill, half for him. The whole year they did not cut him, They had to basically give him simple routes to run, and basically adjusted their playbook just from being a team.
Yeah. Reminds me of Andre Rison also, because Andre Rison didn't read the playbook. He just ran routes. Ice, your question?
Yeah, this might be totally rumor, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I'm gonna just say, just stop, please stop. There's a rumor that Tampa Bay, Tom Brady wants to bring Odell Beckham to Tampa Bay.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Black.
Cleveland, came out last week and said they want him back. They're happy to have him back. They're looking forward to having him back. So I don't see how that's going to play. I mean, I think it's getting to the point now. I mean, everyone that they brought in, Tampa Bay for the most part, or free agents, are coming out of retirement. And basically, the tight end didn't retire for the most part. He just kind of took a leave of absence. He didn't really retire. So he kind of sat around and wait. So I don't think it's possible. It sounds good, but I don't see that's going to be possible unless they kind of give Cleveland something in return. I think Cleveland would be better if they got rid of Odell Beckham. But unless they get something that's going to really kind of make them move forward, and I don't know if Tampa Bay is going to give that up, I don't think it's happening.
Do it. Do it. I mean, everything else has been working. Do it. Do it. Sign whoever. You signed AB. You signed all these other folks that weren't working on anywhere else. Go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. But mind you, this guy took one team to the playoffs and lost that playoff game. So do it. Do it. That's what you feel like you need. Do it. Ice?
Now I think after a while people start coming up with all kind of stories because they trying to sell time on TV or whatnot. So I mean they already won. They don't need anybody like that. I mean, especially with the attitude and whatnot too. But then again, think that I didn't know Black Thor. When he just mentioned, he said that Cleveland's thinking about re-signing him, Odell Beckham. I'm like, see, just when I thought y'all was turning the damn corner. You already done seen that you beat Pittsburgh. Thought we was moving forward. I was maybe going to even look at going to a Browns game. And then you want to bring Odell back for what? He makes that little dude that likes spaceships nervous. Not bringing him back.
So aliens don't make him nervous. Odell Beckham makes him nervous.
Right. He's shake. I mean, it's a good thing he's not on set when he does the commercials. He makes the man nervous. And it's just kind of like, what in the hell are y'all thinking about? It's maybe they're gonna try to shake him up and get him back on track. So they brought back
man.
So
Yeah, 9-second shot, Black.
Oh man. Wow. I'm sorry.
Spaceships don't make him nervous.
Oh yeah, that doesn't bother him. That doesn't bother him. I could have probably ran with this last week, but I'll go with this week, man. I think it's interesting when you have a coach like Mike Tomlin that hasn't hired a Black assistant as long as he's been in Pittsburgh. I think that says a lot about where we are when it comes down to hiring Black coaches in the NFL. Again, when the Black coaches and the Black players don't necessarily can't stand up for it, I don't know how we can go on this. I just know how we can.
Ice?
Yeah, I was looking at a lot of things, but we're looking at what March 11th, 2021, and we literally are a few days from Puma's favorite time of year with March Madness, right? So with that being said, we went a whole year with no March Madness. And a lot of stuff was going on. Coaches kind of quitting on their teams or saying we're not going to play anymore. But coaches are acting crazy. But the players are still there. Players still coming out there giving their all. Both the men and the women's teams are there. So my thing is this: the next time when things are happening and something goes awry, make sure you take enough time to give the players their just due, because they're there to entertain you. You're getting back what you've been striving for a whole year. Even though you may not be able to go to the game, you get to watch it. March Madness is back. Appreciate the players. Appreciate the efforts. And maybe once in a while, give them the benefit of the doubt when it's maybe something to go against the coach or something like that too, because they're putting it all out of line to entertain you and try to make something better in other lives as well. So enjoy March Madness. Check out my bracket. I might start charging y'all because I know you want to win anyway. But we're on the real tip. Really think about what I just said in regards to really appreciate the athletes and what they do.
This was kind of crazy. They showed the Ali Frazier, the first fight over the weekend. It was the anniversary of the weekend on, I think it's March 8th. And I couldn't, even after all these years, I couldn't watch Ali lose. I just can't watch. I can't stomach watching Ali lose, even though this fight happened in 1971. Him getting knocked down, getting with that left hook of Joe Frazier. I was watching it and like, you know what? I can't watch the decision. I can't. I don't want to watch the rest of the 15th round after that. It's just that, I mean, so the guy was so iconic and so part of, you know, me as a fan. And watching him, it's like, man, I just could not stand. It was like watching it all over again for the first time, watching him lose. And it's kind of crazy how that fight and seeing him lose, how it still affects you after all these years. So our last second shot, that's our show. Like us, subscribe, comment, share this YouTube page and our shows. We will see you next week. Stay tuned for overtime because these guys always crack me up in overtime with some of the stuff they come up with. So we'll see you next week with those picks.
Okay. I'm with you, man, on that when you talked about Ali. But to me, I've always said this, that when he lost to Frazier, I mean, I was a kid and I cried, man. I cried. I was balling like, because he was my champion. I balled. I was like, I don't believe this dude can lose. And when he did, it was like a shock. And I couldn't believe that he lost because he was such a hero. But when you look at the overall, his overall record and his career, that just made me realize how bad and how tough the competition was in the 70s, bro.
15 rounds.
Man, but yeah, that, and then you fighting guys like Ken Norton, broke his jaw. He fighting Foreman. Then you fighting Frazier, Ron Lyle. Man, there was some bad muscatches coming out of there, man. And you talk about boxing now, even back when it was like with Tyson and them, there wasn't no dudes like this, bro. Because you couldn't, every night you had to bring it. You know, the Ernie Shavers and cats like that. You know, when you, every night, if you didn't come correct, even counterpunchers like Jimmy Young and Jerry Corey, you had to bring it every night. Because you came in slipping, you might get hurt.
But you know what really got me, because I was watching the show on ABC when they showed it. Andre Ward was on the panel, and he was saying, he said 15 rounds. He's like, he wouldn't have been able to do it. And he said most of the boxers now would not be able to do it. He's like, he don't know if he would have the fortitude to do 15 rounds. And this is a guy who's undefeated and had some battles, and he was like, not 15 rounds, no.
It takes a special kind of dude, man, because you getting whopped. I mean, some of them Ken Nortons and the Ernie Schaefer battles, them dudes like, boom, boom. And you just like, you know, all of a sudden you watching these guys warring. And when you get past 12,
yeah,
man, everybody, Larry Holmes and his battles, and you know, was Weaver. Yeah, Weaver, so many battles, man. So many tough dudes, man.
Yeah. 15 rounds. Gosh.
That's a long time, bro. You think about it, that's a long time. I mean, you think of the shape you have to be in to be able to withstand that, you know, for 15 rounds, man. You know, that's why, you know, I kind of gave up on boxing a while ago, because you grew up watching them and watching them battle. Not only, you know, Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, all these other fighters that came in, took the sport seriously. It's tough now for me to really kind of pay attention and get into, because these cats don't care.
Yeah.
It's way beyond business now. I'm not saying it's more the fighter. Sometimes it's the promoter, but it's a joke, man. I mean, I remember a couple of months ago, when it took them an hour, almost an hour and a half, and still got it wrong on ESPN. Bro, I mean, ESPN went back and showed you every minute of those two bouts. What did they see? I mean, what they claim they saw, no one's, I mean, where? And they were on the phone back and forth, back and forth. That's all you need to know, bro. I mean, it's like, so it's just, it's generated now to make money, make an income, And that's all it is, bro. They don't care about it. What they did to build the sport up, it's been lost. It's been lost.
That's the hurting thing about it, because we grew up in a generation where we saw the best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're seeing what's out there now. And it's like, it doesn't compare to that. And it for me, I lose interest. But
Mm-hmm.
it's a slap in the face to have those great fighters and basketball players and football players build up this legacy, to see what they're doing with the legacy now. That's kind of like a slap in the face. So when I see like guys complaining and guys not really honoring the sport and doing their due diligence with the sport, it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I don't have any respect for them. And even the coaches, you had some coaches who really coach, and now the coaches now who feel like, they get their feelings hurt when somebody asks them a question in a press conference. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Millions. You're making millions upon millions. Just answer the question and go home.
Yeah. And coaching bad at that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get me wrong. I love Popovich. I love Pop, but Pop got to retire, bro. He said he came out last night. I watched some of the game off and on between him in Dallas and San Antonio, and I couldn't tell you how many times the player in Dallas turned the corner and nobody met him at the rim. And he came out there and the game said, "I think we did a pretty good job of him." What game were you watching? What game? The man would basically start at the foul line, give you the look, I'm going right, and none of your players cut him off. No one. So at what point is that coaching or is that players? But at the end of the night, you're going to say you thought you did a good job on him? So, I mean, it's gotten to the point now where defense is like, please, what is that?
There's no defense anymore.
No, that's why I think that Brooklyn's able to do what they do, because nobody damn defense. All they got to do is play. If they can beat you offensively, that's why I don't understand, but I do understand because I know who their coach is. But, even watching a team like New Orleans, man, they can't play any D, but they can outscore almost any damn body in the league.
Yeah.
We know why they ain't any good. I mean,
New Orleans, until they get rid of that head coach, I don't care what they say they believe, and bringing a head coach that can grow with those players, they ain't going nowhere.
But you know what his coach did, what Zion is doing? And tell me where you heard this before. Zion they're going to let him run point. They're going to let him shoot threes. They're going to let him do all this stuff. Where you heard that before in New Orleans?
Is that Gentry down there back? Gentry?
Yeah, I thought it was Gentry back there coaching again. We're like, we're going to let him do this. We're going to let him do this. He's going to handle the ball, top of the key, all this other stuff. I'm like,
he shoot threes. Yeah, we know.
He's like, wait a minute. This sounds awfully familiar. And then, didn't you just read the resume of the last coach who did that with AD? Did you not read that? And so you're going to have him do all the stuff. And he's playing really well. But to me, it's only a matter of time. He's going to be doing too much. And then all of a sudden, an injury, something like that. Go teach this guy some skills down in the paint.
Yeah. There's a center, a white center in college that plays his back to the basket. That's Iowa State, I think the guy. He's about 7 foot. I was watching him play or some highlights on him yesterday. Plays his back. I was like, his motherfucker gonna kill when he get to the NBA. He gonna kill. Literally, he has a game to his back to the basket. He jukes you, he goes in. I was like, what the? I'm looking at it going, if he can leave now, he should go immediately. Because he's gonna kill in the NBA, bro. They're gonna be able to guard him. Big boy, too, huge. I can't remember his name, but I'm telling you, man, because you're right. They don't do nothing with this talent now. I mean, and let's be honest. We assume the coach, general manager of the Pelicans know what he's doing, but guess what? LeBron was the general manager of that team, and he showed you exactly what you need to see when he brought in that head coach. You didn't bring in Stan Van Gundy based on his talent. You brought him because you knew him, you liked him, you worked with them. Because when they was both at ESPN at the same time, so you felt good about him, you brought him in. That's not who you hire, bro. That's not who you hire.
Yeah, imagine though if they had Monty Williams right now as the coach. Oh my God.
Oh, please.
Woo! Monty Williams was down there with that talent, man.
Ooh. You see what he's doing with Phoenix? But man,
Yeah.
I don't understand
Yeah.
NBA beats professional teams and want to hire your friends and all this stuff. Hire the best person to get the job done. You know, just to get the job done. But man, it's just amazing to me to watch some of this stuff and go, this is bad. It's just really bad. It's just and I told you all before, my pop can't stand the NBA. He can't watch it. He said I can't watch it.
Right.
Yeah, it's tough at times. I gotta admit, it's tough because even watching tonight's game, man, it's a lot of, and Boston's kind of falling prey to it too. It's a lot of them, give me the ball and nobody moves, isolation. I got you. And it's like I mean, at what point everybody gonna move beyond that? That's what I'm saying. At what point you gonna move beyond it? Nobody moves. Go stand at the 3-point line. Just stand there. And if I can't get to the rim, I'm gonna kick it out to you. I don't get it, man. And then you look at some of these scores, man. 140, 120. What's the ABA or NBA? Which one's going on?
You said something about the Good Morning America with Maya Moore, man. I wasn't gonna bring her up, bro, because I know how you.
You can, bro. Now she's happy. They look like
really happy
with each other. I think it's a smart move. I mean, realistically, and I'm just saying this to be direct and objective. I don't think her game is going to be there anymore. And I think it's not. I love what she's doing, the direction she took with her life, and she's fighting for justice, and that's great. But she's been away now 3 years, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't seem like she's been on the court. She's really been practicing. So I would hate to see her kind of try to lace them go up now and be a disappointment. So I think realistically, I like the direction that she's moving in. Just keep going in that direction, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they start having a family.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounded like she was all in, bro. She was like, I'm about to learn about this dude. I'm all in. And that's a blessing for him because from what we can tell, she's a sweetheart, man. She'll ride and die for the end.
Yeah.
It's hard to find that, man. Yeah. She rides.
Yeah,
I just hope he take care of her, man.
Yeah.
That's all I hope.
Same here. He screws it up, bro. We got some talking to do to him because you're right, man. It's not many of her walking around the face of this earth, bro. It's just not.
In particular, what she did. I mean, the sacrifice she made for him.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is. It literally is just somebody does that for you, and then you with them. I mean, you just have to work it out because I mean, she's in there. I mean, she's beautiful. She got money and all, but just the whole point of the overall sacrifice that she made, for that. I mean, we could probably count on our hands the number of women that would do that, even for somebody that they know, or even somebody they love. The number of women that would walk away from something because they believe that much into it. That says a lot about her, man.
Yeah, I'm happy for her, man. I'm really happy for her. And she committed to that. He committed to her, and I hope it works out. I really do. And they're both committed to helping other people in the same situation because I've heard that a lot. That there are a lot of people sitting up in jail who got railroaded, and there's nobody else helping them. And if that's their mission to do that, man, God bless them. God bless them.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree, man. Yeah, she looks super happy, man. I think basketball is the furthest thing from her mind, realistically. Mm-hmm. But she has to answer questions when they come. But nah, I think she's called to do something higher and greater, and she's doing it. And yeah, pray that she keep on and things work out for her.